Just before we start, I'd like to say a really big thank you to Nigel, our head moderator, who's here with me now. Thank you, Nigel, for all the hard work you've done. I'd also like to say thank you to Tree Cat, who's been your right-hand man, I believe. And congratulations, I know you're a happy event this week. And welcome, Shadowfax and Michael, our new moderators. Okay.
Thank you. Well, Roma, lovely to be here with you today. On behalf of the members of Unity, we have some questions for you. If you could let us have some of your time to go through these, that'd be wonderful.
Certainly.
Okay, we'll get right underway. Our first question comes from Jason. What kind of books do you usually read, and which book has inspired you the most, and who is your favourite contemporary writer?
The type of books I would normally read are poetry and reference. I don't read very many novels, but one I have read recently, who is a contemporary Irish writer, is Ghost Moth by Michelle Forbes.
Okay.
It's set in Belfast, where I come from, and it's set during the Troubles, but it has nothing to do with the Troubles. But it's really beautifully written, so she would be my favourite Irish novelist. Poetry is people like Ted Hughes, Alice Oswald. There's so many good poets, some great Scottish poets, John Glenday, Robin Robertson. You know, you could spend the afternoon naming off great poets, and the rest are really reference books that I use for research.
Yeah, you're very heavy on your research.
Oh, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, yeah. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, definitely. Our next question is from Mildeer. Have you ever considered the enormous potential of Quenya as a language to use for lyrics? And exploring further into the Lord of the Rings, like writing as a team, have you ever considered setting the Quenya poems to music, such as Namaree?
Well, funnily enough, with Quenya, when we were writing for Lord of the Rings, May It Be began, when I wrote it entirely in Quenya. The whole song was in Quenya, which I really liked. But the thing about any piece of music, any song, is really, it's a combination of things. It's not just the lyrics. You can't separate them. So when you're looking at something like that, you have to take into consideration what's best for the song. And although I really loved the Quenya lyrics, when we tried them out and then we tried the English version, everybody seemed to prefer the English version with a small amount of Quenya in it. Nevertheless, I still have a hankering for that original Quenya version. I'd love if they would do it.
Is it hidden somewhere?
Well, normally, if we don't use a piece, if I don't use lyrics, I don't normally keep them because it's not like you're going to adapt them to something else.
Sure.
But I think I have that one hidden away somewhere. I will check, Nigel.
Okay, our next question is from Revan. Loxian is called a language because of its strange alphabets, its exotic pronunciation and its fantastic background. But as long as it's not created to be used in a proper conversation, do you think that it could still be considered a language? He's noted here, as you pointed out in the booklet from The Very Best of Enya, the protean nature of language relies for you in the meanings that are hidden behind the words that we spell, or it's a question of the feelings, what are underneath the sounds, and the way they move us to feel in a way that can't be scientifically proved.
Well, that's a really long question. So I'll answer what I can of it because I can't remember all of it. But with Loxian, the reason behind Loxian really was to accommodate Enya and Nikki, their idea of that piece of music. Nikki originally wanted a soundscape, so it's just sounds, you know, nothing else. And that's the way we were treating it initially. I have a slight problem with that. It shouldn't matter one iota, but I like to have a sort of, I like to have the meaning behind something, a culture, a history, something behind it. So secretly, I start writing it's for myself. So I feel okay. I understand what this is about, and it just sort of, it developed from there. And then as we progressed, we suddenly found the two other pieces, Less Than a Pearl. The River Sings. It began to grow then as a language. I still consider it more an art language. It has a specific purpose. It's there for the music. But the funny thing is, you know, it grows as you work on it. And for this album, although there are 2 songs in Loxian, something interesting happened in between times, in between the gap, 6 years. We had moved, and I'd packed a lot of stuff away. And I'd all my notes on Loxian, which I now can't find.
Oh, no.
No, but it was great. Well, it sounds like, oh no, but it was great for me because it's a whole new discovery. All the notes I'd made, I suddenly realised I have to work back now and rediscover them, which was really, really exciting for me. And I also discovered in that process that I'd considered Loxian quite a free language because of the way we'd developed it. But in fact, as it progresses, it comes under the same sort of structures, if you like, as a language. But I would still consider it primarily a language for the music. It's just, I like to know what's behind it. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I have a whole history behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. Great Wall has asked, do you ever read any poems or novels translated from Chinese?
Now, here's another one to catch me out. I'll tell you why. I'm not going to pronounce this properly, so you're going to have to bear with me. But there is a Chinese philosopher, Zhuangzi. I hope I got that right. Funnily enough, with him, when we were writing some of the songs, there was a song we didn't use. Sometimes we would work on a piece, it doesn't work. That's it. It's gone. Harmonies go out, melody goes out, lyrics go out. But with that particular one, I'd actually used him. His very famous quote is about him thinking he was dreaming, and he was saying, well, he was dreaming he was a butterfly, and then he thought when he woke up, well, am I a man dreaming I'm a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I'm a man? I love that whole concept. So he was actually written into one of the songs, but it didn't make it on the album. It has dissolved, but nevertheless it's there.
So yeah, the second part of Great Wall's question was whether you would consider writing lyrics inspired by ancient Chinese culture or mythology. So
I certainly would. I'm quite open to whatever inspiration comes. I certainly would. You know, in fact, it's come into some poetry. Chinese mythology has come into some of the poetry I've written in the meantime, in the 6 years while everybody was busy doing their.
yes.
Nikki was busy revamping the studio. I was sitting writing. But in fact, some of the Chinese mythology came into the poetry.
Very good. Now our new moderator, Shadowfax, has a question. When I played the first and second Loxian games, I was reminded of some computer games that I have played. Do you play video games? And if so, what are some of your favourites?
Hi, Shadowfax. No, I don't play video games. I don't play video games.
Never
I don't know.
have?
No, I never have. I know Thunder has. I've seen him play video games, but I haven't actually, so I know very little about them. But I've really, really enjoyed the Loxian games.
Yes.
I had Lee working with me on that. I need Lee for that. But it was one of the best times of my life. I loved that.
Oh,
It was one of my favourite. It was one of my favourite times.
One day they will return. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The next question from Karanos. What is the story behind Silver Inches?
Silver Inches doesn't really have a story as such. It's a beautiful little piece. It took a bit of work to get it there. It sounds like it just flowed out and that's the way it was born. It actually took a little piece of work to get it there. The term Silver Inches is actually Little Flower, but it's such a beautiful title. And then, again with the poetry, some of the poetry I was writing was about Dave Brown, who was one of the astronauts on the Columbia mission, where they were doing all the science experiments. And he had requested Silver Inches as one of his wake-up calls. I think it was the day before they were due to come back to Earth, basically. So it's a special one for us. We thought that was very touching.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite instrumentals.
Is it?
Yes, yes.
Really?
I love it very much.
Ah,
Yeah.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Another reason.
The next question is from also our new moderator, Michael. I love the concept of the Dark Sky Island as a place free of light to view the night sky. Places like this are increasingly rare these days. Stars and the moon are such a recurring theme in your work. Do you find it necessary, maybe even emotionally, to take time and just look at the night sky? Have you ever visited Sark or the Isle of Coll?
Okay, well, No, I've never visited Sark or the Isle of Coll, and fair play to you, because everyone's concentrating on Sark because it's the first dark sky island, but the second dark sky island is the Isle of Coll. It's one of the Inner Hebrides of Scotland. You know, it would be quite different from Sark. Sark is closer to France. It's quite sort of meadow-laden. You know, the Isle of Coll would be rougher and more rugged. You'd probably get more of the northern lights there. But it's nice that it's mentioned, because it's overlooked a lot, because everyone's concentrating on Sark as the dark sky island, as it's the first designated one. With regard to the rest of the answer, I'm very interested in astronomy. Nicholas is as well. But I would be more inclined to look at it through a NASA website or things like that, because I suffer from heights. So it's the same if you're looking up.
Yes.
It's the same as if you're looking down. And when it's really dark and the stars are out, I can only look at them for a few minutes, because then you get that sort of fear of heights coming in, and it's the biggest height you can get, really, isn't it?
Much, yeah.
So it's a sort of contradiction in terms, really, but there you go. Maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by them.
Yeah.
It's because I have to go to them a circuitous route.
Yes.
I can't really just lie and look at them.
Finally, we have a question from Neo Guy. Are there any plans to release more of your artwork or poetry? Would you be surprised to realise that you have as many fans of your work on Unity as Enya?
Well, actually, I would be, yes. I would be, yeah. Yes, I would like to. The answer is yes. I would really like to release the poetry, because I've been writing a lot of it. I mean, I've always been writing a lot of it. I've quite a number of books there, but the particular one on islands I'd really like to release, because it covers quite a lot, and part of the poetry was the dark sky islands, both islands, Sark and the Isle of Coll. So maybe one of these days I'll get round to it. Yes, that's a nice question. Thank you for it.
Now, it would be remiss of me, while I have this opportunity, not to make another little presentation while I'm here. You may have heard about the Unity Key.
I have heard about the Unity Key.
The Unity Key began 4 to 5 years ago now, I think, from TreeCat, who unfortunately couldn't be with us this week. But it has travelled, and I've had to write this down because there are so many places this key has been to. Beginning with TreeCat in Georgia, USA, it then moved on to North Carolina, Florida, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, California, Oregon, Washington State, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York and Utah, then leaving the USA to Ireland, France, Slovakia, then to Argentina, Mexico, Japan, Hong Kong, the Philippines, New Zealand, and finally, just before Christmas passed, it arrived in Australia with me. I've had the key ever since and have been wondering how best to get this to you, but to actually have the opportunity to present this to you in person, I know will mean so much to these people that have passed this around the world.
Now, hold on a minute. I'm going to cry. So.
Because it does mean so much to all of us. Thank you very much.
Nigel.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. This really does mean quite a lot. I know all about the Unity Key, and it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you,
Nigel.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Oh, fantastic. I love keys. Maybe you already knew that. And I'd like to thank TreeCat for the original idea. I'm sorry she can't be with us today.
Yes.
So hi, TreeCat.
Thank you.